So there's this tweet we found on social media that has been generating a lot of heat, and we decided to take it. This tweet was made by Prince Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who's apparently a police officer. And he says, I was driving today in Abuja, and one road safety officer who wanted to arrest me for using a phone heard me instructing the DPO to put one person in the cell. He saluted me and passed me. This is to say, to every rule, there must be an exception to save some situations. And he puts laugh out loud. So Nigerians are really upset about this tweet, saying that we have our governments, we have our leaders make certain rules and regulations, and then they do not follow through. But they can harass individuals and, you know, regular people who somehow disobey the same rules that we see them disobey clearly. Everybody's talking about, they say some people are being arrested for taking one way, but then they see police vans, they see the army all taking the same one way that they're talking about. When we make these rules, are they supposed to be exceptions? And how do we handle these exceptions?
Yes, there are exceptions to every rule, but it has to be in issues of security and emergency. He tweeted to let us know that this wasn't an emergency. He found it funny.
Laugh out loud.
For someone I haven't met and I've always respected, because there's been consequences of police officers' abuse under his watch, which he has also informed us of. And this just suddenly just flattened the high level I was putting in for me. He tweeted and he found it funny, and this was no emergency. I've always thought that this issue of no phone calls while driving should be reviewed. I drive with my earpiece on. Some people have Bluetooth speakers. You know, you can have a chat. For long while I was on this show, I need a phone call to keep my eyes open when I'm driving back home. Yeah. Sometimes driving to work because of the distance. And I get stopped. Once I was with my mom on the phone, my earphones were in my ear. A federal road safety officer stopped me. Asked if I was on the call. I could have said no. I could have said I was listening to music. I said yes. He packed me, pulled me over, and I paid the fine. Wow. And I kept saying, but I didn't have my phones in my hand. Sometimes I have my phones in my hijab, and it will be an issue that why do you have your phones in your ear? Once I was stopped for being on the map and driving, and I said, I'm on the map. I'm trying to follow. I don't know this area well. I was parked by a police officer. So I don't see the emergency in this. And for someone who's been parked too many times, I don't see the emergency in his tweets. I expect him, as the image maker of that institution, to be more responsible. He can be in the line of his duty and say that I was parked and taking a call. He said, I was saying, put somebody in the cell. This could be serious. It could also be a joke that I was on the phone and somebody just parked me. Because of where I am, I just say, Dibio, put him in the cell. And, you know. But the cell could be an emergency. This is too, for someone in the PR business, for someone who is in the image-making business, this is just too wrong. All shades of it for me. And I don't expect this to go without, of course, the backlash that he got on Twitter, but I expect it even more as a person. I expect him to apologize for this. He should know that he has done something wrong for the same things that he has called out for, and should not just wipe this under the carpet as it has speech.
It just comes across as being irresponsible, especially because he ended it with LOL. So it made, yes, like it was something that was, you know, not that serious. But if he had not put the LOL, I may have taken it to mean that he was just trying to talk about situations where it requires that there should be exception to the rule. Because he says this. This is to say, to every rule, there must be an exception to save some situations. If he had said that, then my question would be, what situation was he trying to save? What situation needed him to be on the phone, you know, at that while driving to save? But when he put that LOL, like, yeah, you know. But since you've dealt with that, let's also talk about situations that need to be saved, because there have been situations where I feel that the police would have handled it better. This road safety officer that stopped him thought he was in an emergency and handled it differently. I have seen police officers, no matter what you explain to them, you will park. This is an emergency. That child is in the back of the car in pain. I'm rushing, you know, you're going to school. They don't want to hear.
You will park.
There's a tanker that has just fallen over there. This is another way where we can all pass, or else all of us will be in traffic during rush hour. Oh, I would like to have seen a police officer try and, you know, direct traffic they don't understand those situations. So if he's talking about situations that will save something, I think he should have used this to explain that. He made it seem like he was just talking about, being more powerful than a road safety officer.
Prince Olumuyiwa Adejobi is the police first public relations officer. I'm on his page right now, and I'm seeing his response. He's retweeting questions about this tweet and responding. He said, it has never happened before someone got the cruise. Don't castigate me for this. It's simple logic. When do road safety officers close? We need to reason fast when we see messages.
Okay, so Oga, can I even call?
Yes. Wait now. Write-ups before reacting. This is how many of you spread fake news. I won't catch plenty. I beg, just give me time.
Please, I'm seeing loopholes, but let's
see how people reason. Road safety officers don't work beyond 6 p.m. Okay. And then he says, whenever he's driving, there's one he said, it did not even happen because I don't drive myself while on duty, except off duty. And road safety officers don't operate at 6 p.m., max 7 p.m. I only tested the strength of fake news. You can see how it's spreading fast like a hammerton.
Sometimes when this sort of thing happens, anybody around you should take away your phone. In responding, you will dig more holes for yourself and you'll fall in. It's not your job to test fake news. People can call him up on that. He has a job to protect the lives and property of people.
No,
and the image of the police.
Of the police
so it's not your job to test fake news. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. And also, I do not even think that Nigerians don't understand that there are exceptions for every rule. We understand that. One of the reasons everybody is getting upset is the fact that we observe the abuse that goes on. It's the abuse. If Nigeria was the way Nigeria was when I was growing up, that we didn't have this much abuse, and once in a while you see a police taking one way and all that, you won't raise an eyebrow because you understand that something is happening. And how do they pass information when something is happening for people to understand that they are supposed to be doing this now in cases of emergency? It's the abuse that Nigerians are worried about. And what this tweet, if you ask me, has just done is the fact that anybody can just feel, I can get a police uniform and act like a policeman and get away scot-free. And we have a lot of people who are doing that right now. So this tweet should not come from him. He should stop responding, if you ask me.